Okay. Let's focus now, okay, guys? So we have this scenario where we're repairing the gargoyle in the top here. The distance away from the building, he estimates that the angle of elevation, I need you to remember that, is 40. So there's our angle of elevation, which is always between the horizontal and the line looking up. And then he moves 20 meters closer and estimates that the angle is now 60 degrees. So we have that angle of elevation there being 60. How high above the ground is it? So the ultimate question is this. They want to know how high off the ground it is. Okay? So this is very similar to the one we just did. You should be able to do that at this point because we did one on the quiz just now with the tree. So it doesn't guide you though, it doesn't guide you through. So I would say this, start with this triangle here and then move into the second one here. So this one, let's draw that out. Let's draw it out. This is 40. And what is this here? If this is 60, then this is 120. Okay? And therefore, this one up here is going to be 180 minus 120 minus 40. So that's 20 degrees. And this is 20 meters, which is somewhat confusing, okay? Because there's a bunch of 20s there. But that's okay. Sine of 20 over 20 is equal to, which one would I find? Which side would I find? This one or that one? And the answer is, it doesn't matter, but my strategy is going to be, let's call this Z here. I'm going to find this side here. So sine of 40 over side Z. So I cross multiply and divide. And Z is going to be 3759. And that is important to me. So I'm just going to underline that, but that's not answering the question just yet. Now I'm going to shift over to this one. I'm going to use this 60 that's in here. I know this one is 3759 now. I just found this side, which is this one. And I'm going to find the height, which is there. This is my pair, and I'm going to use the other one. So sine of 90 over 3759 is equal to sine of 60 over h. Cross multiply and divide. I'm going to give you that step. So h is 3255. That is the height of the gargoyle. Okay? Anybody, I think in a class this size, there's at least one person that tried it solving this one. And then you use the triangle here to find the height. That is okay. You should get the same. It's still consistent, right? Because imagine this. Whether you're standing here, here, or even further, the height of that object stays the same. So it's just that the numbers will change. The further out you go, your distance will be different. Your angle will change as well, but it will be consistent. It will work out. Okay. Next page. A boater sends an SOS call indicating that he's stranded. So Gord receives the call and determines that the boat is 3.2 kilometers away from him at a direction 42 south of west. You don't need to worry about that. The wording there Just look at the diagram, okay? But it's right there is the 42. Meg is at a station 5.8 kilometers south of Gord, so it's right here. Meg is right there. Oh, I can use inverse sine on this one. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. So this was a 90 here because this is your west line and this is going south here, right? South. So west and south meet at a 90. So if you can have one here on the side, right? If you cut this and you tell me that this is 30, what's this one going to be? 60, right? So they're complementary. And if you want a cheesy way to remember, it's right to complement someone. So it's right to complement someone. So if you wanna remember, there it is. Supplementary is when it's along a straight line. Complementary is if they're making a 90. They add up to 90. Anyways, so this is 48 degrees. So now you have an angle on the inside. Side angle side. They're asking how far is Meg from the border. So they're asking you for this. I'm going to call it x. So x squared is, so as I said, you will have some partially filled in diagrams. You have to do the rest. And I will not be able to help you with those, okay? I can't tell you, where should this go? Should it go over here or over here? I'm like, I wish I could, but it's going to be up to you, right? I would say if you've practiced, trust your instincts and go with it, right? And also, always examine your answers. If your answers do not make sense, go back. If you get a math error, you probably made a mistake when you set it up. Okay, math errors are mistakes while setting up, so you got to go check. So there's your side, that's 4.36 here. And now we're going to do the sine inverse. Okay, this is my chance to do that. What is the angle at Meg's location? So they want this angle right here. I have a pair now, so I'm going to say sine of 48 over 4.36. I would say if you did cosine law, write this down anyways, because you could have used cosine law. A pair, and then I want this, so I need to use this side 3.2 kilometers, and I'm going to call this sine m. Don't just go m, okay? You have to go sine of that angle. Okay? So then you cross multiply and you divide. So sine of m is 3.2 times sine of 48 over 4.36. This gives you a decimal, right? So we're going to go sine of m. Let's go ahead and find that out because I used cosine law the first time. 0.5454, it keeps going. So angle M is sine inverse of 0.5454, and that keeps going. So I'm going to go shift sine. Make sure you don't do cosine, because sometimes when you're so used to cosine, you might still take the inverse of cosine, but we're using the sine law, okay? So it's 33.05. If you used cosine law, you're going to get 33.01. But that's okay. You don't lose any marks. Okay? So that's the angle. So remember how to use sine law to solve for angles. Maybe flip through my booklet. It's right at the beginning. We do sides first and we do angles next. Okay. Next. This question, I wanted you to solve for h as well. the height here. So if you didn't do it, that's fine. It's not your fault. You were just going by what it was saying here. But I'm going to do that as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. So here, side, angle, side. So I'm going to find this whole angle up here. So angle E is 180 minus 32 minus 78. Angle E is 70. Yeah, it is 70. Important to me. Now I have a pair there. So sine of 70 over 250. Sine of, you have to be careful. If you want to call this K and this is lowercase m, you just have to be careful when you answer, and you'll see what I mean in a bit. So sine of 32 will allow you to solve for side m. M is 250 times sine of 32 divided by sine of 70. So m is 140.98 meters. This is distance between Kumar and Eagle. See, right? Because you solve for side M, so that's between Kumar and Eagle. That's their distance there. Cut this. I will use the same pair again. Oh, my key has them flipped sometimes. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I put the side length and then sine underneath. It still works, but the way I teach it lately, I always put the sine and then the side length. So just stick with this. Sine of 78 will give you K. K is, right? So K is 260.23. This is the distance between Mariah and Eagle. So that's technically you were done there, but I will add the H somewhere here. So for the H, I'm going to use this triangle here, knowing that there's a right angle there. You could use either one. You just have to pick the right numbers. So with this, you cannot use 70 anymore, because 70 is the whole thing. You're now cutting it here, so it's slightly smaller. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use sine of 90 over this side, which I just found, which is 260.23. And I'm going to go sine of 32 is going to give me H. So H, there's some work that you need to do. H is, I don't have that on my key, so I have to do this. That's 137.9. That is the actual height of the eagle, right? Above ground. This is it for this. And now I'm going to ask you to take your booklet and go to the back of the booklet. I'm going to add some fuel economy and some notation. Back of your booklet, this one here. Take this and go to the back. Okay, notation. I'm going to give you a diagram and try to copy it as best you can. So it's basically start with a triangle like this. Don't make it too small. Right? A triangle like that. And then we're going to split that like this. Back of the booklet, there should be some blank pages there. And so we're going to call this A, B, C, and D. Locate and label the following. Nope. ABD is angle BDA is 62. Angle BDC is question mark. Angle BCD is 28. So I want you to use a pencil, but the ones that are known, I want you to locate them and actually label them on that diagram. See where do you think they should go? Real quick, like we're not going to spend too much time, and be ready to erase obviously or cross, but try to put the values in the triangle, and then I'll do it with you anyways. Question? What's that? But ABD. So it's basically that doesn't matter if you read it this way or that way. Just connect the points. Basically A, B, D. Right? If you connect those 3 points, the angle is formed right there. So the 70 should go there. And then it's BDA. So you go BDA like that. And so the 62 goes there. Okay. BDC is when you connect those 3 points, it's this angle. And how would we find that? Supplementary, right? These two are supplementary. So you go 180 minus 62, and we are at 118, right? 118. So we know that now. BCD, right? So B, C, and D, that angle right there is 28. And DBC, they want the top here. To get this angle, we would just go 180 minus the 118 minus the 28, because now you have a triangle, right? Anything inside the triangle adds up to 180. So 34. Yeah. So this is 34. So you have to be able to do this at least, right? Label and be able to tell, like, okay, I know how to do 3-letter notation, put it in the diagram. Once it's in the diagram, you can let go of it, right? You don't have to let that confuse you. Just transfer it over and then keep working with what you have. Okay. Now we're going to do fuel economy. Okay, so Jordan is planning a road trip to 2 cities as depicted below. So let's say this is the starting point, goes to a city, goes to another city, comes back. So let's go A, B, C. This is 49 kilometers, 42 kilometers, and this is 125 kilometers. Go ahead. You start at A, obviously, and then you go to B, C, and then back. If fuel economy, what's the question? Are you trying to figure out what I wrote? Jordan is planning a road trip to 2 cities as depicted below. 49, 42, right? This is 42 kilometers, 125 kilometers. If the fuel economy of his car is 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers, determine the liters used for the trip. And then I'll add B just below it here, give some space. B, if fuel costs, what is it now, $1.42 or something like that? 142.9, okay. If fuel costs 142 per liter, how much would it cost to make that trip, obviously? I'll give you a little bit of time to figure that out before I go over it. You should be able to. So whenever you're given a fuel economy, you want that almost like sine law. It's like a pair. You want to start off with that. And then the question is asking us how many liters would we then use for a certain distance, right, that we're driving. You can actually do this yourselves if you're ever planning on visiting someone, a different province, right? So we're going to add all the distances, because if we travel all around, right, we know the total distance we're planning on traveling. So 9 and 2 is 11, 16, 9 and 2 is 11, so 216. Right? I'm planning on traveling 216 kilometers, so you write that in here. Then you cross multiply and divide, just like before. And you get 18.36 liters that you're going to need. Okay? It's okay to have the equal because you're saying that this expression is equal to that amount. Okay, so in this case it's okay, but don't put it right next to this. Okay. And then the cost is simply going to be 18.36 liters multiplied by the cost per liter. And we get 26.07, and we're in dollars here. That's our cost for the thing. Test review material. I will put that on the next page here. So if you take your worksheet booklet, this one, there are a couple of pages that I've already talked about that are up on the board. I'll just put that here, maybe at the bottom of that page. So test review. So you can do page 7 to 8 or pages 11 to 15. Okay. In the booklet. Not in the notes, right? But the worksheet booklet. The keys are already posted, so you got to go back a couple days to get those keys as well. Okay, so if you're like, you know what, I want more, and wait, there's more. Have you seen those commercials? Page 9. So I'm just going to show you quickly. Page 9 just says laws of sines and cosines review. So you're solving each triangle. So you're finding all sides, all angles for all of them. And the key is right behind it. So if you just flip, if you just want to know right away, am I doing this right? It's right behind it. So you can practice that too if you want. Okay. And of course, it goes without saying, flipping through your notes, checking what you could possibly pick up. Maybe you need a reminder.